everyone, my name is Clantis and welcome to my YouTube channel. So without further ado, let's get into this video, which I am doing for the second time because the first round I had forgotten to turn on the microphone. And so I had almost an hour-long footage, which was just static because there's a mic that you have to like insert into the device, and then there's this one. So now there was no sound. It was just me going and stuff of that nature, and now I have to reshoot this video. So today Zandile Khumalo was on the stand. As you know, guys, I had thought initially that she has tamed down, or she was calmed down, or maybe the state sat her down and recoached her on how to answer questions in court, but it was only temporarily when she was being cross-examined by advocate Khumalo, who did an excellent job. I don't care with the fact that he could not express himself as some people would have loved him to, but the strategy that he was pushing, it was in the right direction, because I believe he created doubt in this whole intrusion story of Zandile Khumalo regarding what had happened on the 26th of October 2014. That is, if I'm correct with the date. But anyways, he did a lot of damage to that statement by Zandile Khumalo, because even herself, she was finding herself tripping over her own words or having re-emphasized something that she had not included in the statement. She was really trying her best to try and consolidate those three versions of the statements that she had written over the years, but of course the damage was already done. So then came Mshololo, the only Mshololo that I was also looking forward to hear, because I have never seen this Mshololo before. Advocate Mshololo, who was really on fire, I must say. I'm also very impressed with her, even though I felt that somehow as well, she was falling short of her own excellence, where she would be asking leading questions. If the question wasn't leading, she was even testifying herself for the witness, rather than asking questions that are relevant to whatever is going to let her client off the hook. But anyways, thankfully, I think the judge, in as much as he is concerning me at some point, but at the same time I'm reading between the lines and I'm thinking, okay, I think I see where this judge is going, and many people might misinterpret him to think that he is for the state, but I think he is more on the defense side, and he wants the defense to ensure that cross-examine relevant questions that are not going to create any doubt against your clients, because already this girl, her story is non-existent. The intrusion story is non-existent. And I also love the fact that Mshololo pointed out that the second suspect was never there. And I never thought of that before. I thought two intruders walked in, when in fact I should have thought, okay, there was one suspect that is amongst them, and then Zandile created the second suspect. Because that's what she did. She created a second suspect, and Mshololo did interrogate that, which irritated Zandile out of her mind. And of course, we all know when Zandile is irritated out of her mind, guess what she does? She degenerates into sarcasm. She degenerates into rudeness. She degenerates into arrogance and obnoxiousness. And I am like, oh, okay, fine. I get it. The damage is already done. I think she already knows that the damage is already done because of advocate Khumalo. Khumalo did an excellent job, I must say. I'm very impressed with that advocate, very much so. He's like a slow poison, you know. We get like is a type of thing, type of guy. I'm not talking about the president. I'm talking about the real meaning that I will smile at you, or I will be serious at you, but I will be hitting hard at you. And basically, she really tripped over her words, and her words came to bite her in the butt. And her words are still biting her in the butt with Advocate Mshololo on the floor cross-examining her. So when, of course, as you guys know, that we had audio problems during the first half of the cross-examination with Advocate Khumalo. So the majority of Khumalo's cross-examination, I did not hear it because we had audio issues. However, though, I knew that at some point the audio was going to be fixed. However, it was fixed after lunch. This is like 2 o'clock, and this is when Advocate Mshololo took over and started cross-examining Zandile Khumalo. And when she started cross-examining Zandile Khumalo, this is when I learned that there's actually a second docket. Then I was like, a second docket? What is the second docket is all about? Apparently, as the police were busy investigating, they came to a conclusion that the suspects are amongst the 7 people that were present in the house when Senzo Mayor was actually killed. As a matter of fact, I just learned that there were 7 people in the house, 7 with Senzo. So the surviving people that were present in that house is 6 people. So 6 people know what happened to Senzo Mayor, and therefore the police then opened a second docket. However, the NDPP wrote a letter to the defense team as well as to the prosecutor that the second docket is not going to be acted upon now until the court proceedings outcome will determine what therefore happens to the second docket. For example, I think this is what the NDPP was saying that if the 5 accused are acquitted of this crime, then of course the suspects are going to be the 6 people that were present when Senzo Mayor was murdered in that house, and therefore they should be arrested and brought before the court, prosecuted until the truth comes out. Of course, Advocate Mshololo said that she submits this letter to the court because they had initially had an issue that a second docket was opened, but nobody was arrested. And so this is what the NDPP was explaining to the defense team, that guys, let's wait until the outcome of the nullified court case. Now it's going to be about this case because now they resubmitted that letter to this court into evidence, and so this court of course accepted or admitted that letter. And now whatever outcomes that are going to emanate from this retrial, then if the 5 people are acquitted, then of course Bokele Khumalo and everyone else that are survived from that incident will now be arrested. Okay, I don't know, maybe the National Prosecuting Authority is going to issue a warrant of arrest for them to be arrested and then brought to court until somebody cracks and tells the truth. So the second thing that I also noticed during this cross-examination by Mshololo was Mshololo basically, I'm not quite sure what she was trying to get at here when she wants to know Zandi's highest, academic background. And she asked about her matric, and Zandi was very evasive about answering that question, left me thinking, does she have a matric? But anyways, Mshololo rephrased the question, and then she said she has her highest qualification is marketing. Then I thought, okay, in order for you to do marketing, you need to have a matric. Or unless I'm told that, okay, if you go to a technical college, back in my days, we used to call them technical college. I think these days they call them TVET college. TVET college. Yeah, maybe in that regard, that's what she said. But Mshololo said, I want to know about your occupation and are you qualified in that occupation? Zandi said she is an artist, which also left me thinking because the word artist is very broad. Are you a fine artist? Are you a performing artist? Are you a singer or whatever the case is? Of course, I knew that she's a performing artist. She does sing, she does dance, and she also acts or something like that. Or something of that nature. So, of course, I'm still holding on the fact that does she have a matric? But anyways, that is neither here nor there. So Advocate Mshololo, understanding that Zandi Khumalo is quite sarcastic, she then set the rules. She said, Miss Khumalo, sorry, not Mr. Miss Khumalo, when you address the court, don't address me, don't address the gallery, you address the judge. And you must also refer to the judge as my lord. Of course, Zandi said she understood. And she was also reminded that as a witness, she is here to assist the court to come with an accurate outcome of this trial. So the cross-examination by Mshololo continued, and she was asked about the day in question when Senzo Mayor was shot and killed, regarding the time before he was killed, if they were drinking any alcohol. Zandi confirmed that indeed they did drink alcohol, but she's not sure how much alcohol they drank, but she does remember that they had, I think she said 2 cans of, okay, I'm not a drinker, so I don't know names of alcohol, but this particular alcohol name starts with a G, guana or something like that. To me, it sounded like an exotic bird or something like that. But anyways, she said she shared 2 cans or 3 cans with Kelly that particular night, so she doesn't remember how much exactly did they drink. But Mshololo was like, wait, let's wait a minute. She started pulling out some exhibitions and some photo albums, and then showed her that, look at the photo album. And that's when this thing kind of like jogged her memory a little bit, and said, okay, we did go to the bottle store and we bought alcohol of amount of 400 Rand. We even got some change. Now, I don't know how much this bottle of this exotic bird name costs, and how much of it are you going to get if you buy them for 400 Rand. But it sounded as though it was quite a lot, but she only minimized them to about 2 cans or 3 cans. And she said that is how much she had drank. I understood the question that it was going towards the direction of intoxication when the intruders walked into the house. Now, let me tell you something. The reason why I don't like drinking is because, number one, I have a very light head. Number two, once I am in that state of drunkenness or tipsiness, I'm not sure when is you are tipsy and when you are drunk, I have a tendency of seeing doubles. And not only do I see doubles, but I also see the world kind of like rotating. And my feet are not steadily on the ground. And I like my feet to be steadily on the ground. And also, I don't like my vision blurred in that fashion. So I see that Mshololo was trying to ask her, when the intruders entered the house, are you sure that you did not see one person into doubles because you were intoxicated? But Zandi Khumalo quickly realized that this is where this question is going, but she stuck to her story that she is not sure how much alcohol was drank that particular night, but she remembers that she shared the 2 cans of the exotic bird. I'm just going to call it exotic bird because I don't know how to pronounce that alcohol name, with her sister Kelly. So Advocate Mshololo then told her that the picture does not depict the amount of alcohol that was consumed that particular night. So there's not enough evidence to say you had a case or you had a whole truck of alcohol or less than, but we do see, according to the pictures that were taken by the police when they arrived at the crime scene. And so I see there what she was trying to do. She was creating doubts that the possibility of the alcohol that was consumed that particular night could be more than what Zandi is trying to portray in the court. She's minimized it to 2 or 3 cans, but there's a possibility because we don't see any more other cans or bottles of whatever alcohol that they may have been drinking during the course of the day. Then she was asked about if the house was cleaned when the, what do you call these people, the intruders walked into the house. She said she doesn't know if the house was cleaned. But then I'm thinking, but that's your house, you should know. In my house, back in Durban, we clean the house 2 or 3 times a day. We clean in the morning, we clean during the day after somebody either has cooked or made lunch, and then they clean the space where they were preparing the meals, and then we clean in the afternoon or evening, well, basically in the evening before bed. I used to like cleaning the house. Even to this very day, I clean the house at night because I hate waking up in the morning having to clean the house. I just want to go to the bathroom, take a shower, and then sit and watch television if I need to watch television, if it's during the weekend and I'm not working. So she should know what kind of cleaning rituals they have at home. Was the house clean? But she says that as they were drinking, she was the one who would take the empties of whatever it is that they were, that alcohol, the exotic bird, and she would throw them in a dustbin which was outside. She was the one who was throwing these. But I'm thinking again, but people who drink, they usually don't clean the space they are drinking. They usually drink and leave empties there until they are done and they leave, and then the owner of the house is the one that is going to gather some children or themselves and clean after these people that were here. So I was very quite surprised to hear that Zandile was the one that was cleaning after other people when they were done drinking that exotic bird. Of course, Advocate Mshololo would not let this one go because she wanted to know how many cans did she drink. She said she doesn't remember. So Advocate Mshololo then told Zandile the reason why she is showing her the photo album is so that she can jog her memory. Apparently, according to her evidence in chief, over the years, as she grew older, or over the years, her memory will become clearer and clearer. So that is why Advocate Mshololo showed her the photo album, hoping that because she's remembering things, this was going to jog her memory a little bit, where she would remember the important questions she was about to ask her. And boy, did Advocate Mshololo come with some good questions. I was like, Zandile, you are caught here. It's either you answer the question accurately or you just crumble and fall apart. And I think she crumbled and fell apart. How do I know that she crumbled and fell apart? Is because she degenerated into sarcasm, rudeness, obnoxiousness, arrogance, and thinking that she is above everybody with her snide mouth. Then we go to the statement of Sylvia Happy Ngubeni. Oh my goodness. This lady, in her statement, she says that when they went to the Khumalo house, she, Mapiri, Gugu something, I can't remember what her names are. They went to the Khumalo homes and she says she doesn't remember who opened the Khumalo house door, the kitchen door, and entered. However, when they entered the house, Sylvia Ngubeni saw Mapiri clearing off the empties, meaning the alcohol empties, like the cans or bottles or whatever the case was, before the police arrived. And Mapiri responded to Mahappy that no, she doesn't want people to see that they were drinking, meaning the people that were in the house during the course of the day, nobody must see that they were drinking, which probably is the result of what had happened. And so she cleared off the crime scene. Clearing off the crime scene is a crime in South Africa. I think it's under defeating the ends of justice and also tampering with evidence. So she's in trouble there. Of course, when this question was posed to Zandile, she said, hey, I wasn't there, I don't know, ask Mapiri and ask Mahappy. Then the statement of Gugu Queen Ngubeni. This is the daughter of Mahappy Ngubeni. She said, when she was part of the delegation that went to the Khumalo household and Mapiri was picking up the empties, she heard her mother, this is Gugu, no, not Gugu, this is Happy. Happy is Gugu's mother. She heard her mother, Happy, asking Mapiri, why is she clearing the crime scene before the police arrived? And Mapiri responded by saying she doesn't want the people, meaning I think the police, to see or know that they were drinking. And that is why she's clearing off the crime scene. However, the state jumped on objection and said that was hearsay. Of course, Mshololo said, no, this is in the statement. This Gugu girl is telling in her statement that she heard her mother asking Mapiri why she's clearing the house before the police arrived. It's not hearsay, and I agree with Advocate Mshololo. Mshololo wanted to hear Zandile's comment on this regard. She said she had no comment. Then we get to Mtogo Twala's statement of the 28th of July 2014, and he said some few things that contrasted Zandile Khumalo's statement. One of which that I took note of is the weapon. Mtogo said, in fact, two things that I took note of. The first one is what I've been asking myself, that two intruders walk into the house like angels. They just ask for money and cell phone and no aggression, nothing they say. But Mtogo says the intruders, when they walked into the house, the first thing they said was footsack, cell phone, and money. Something that I can accept, because When you are robbing people, or the robbers, when they're robbing people, they're quite aggressive. They use all manner of words that are going to stick and hurt and also traumatize you while they demand whatever it is they're demanding out of you. And I thought Mtogo, okay, got it correct, when at least the footsack for me is enough. But of course, usually they will say worse than footsack to their victims. The second thing that I also noticed from Togo Twala's statement is the fact that he says that he saw suspect number 2 carrying a knife. Zandi Khumalo said the second suspect was not carrying anything, which is quite strange. You are going to rob a house knowing that there are people in the house. Only one person is carrying a weapon and the second one is just not. Now, how do you get like a backup? Let's say they retaliate. How do you get backup as the first suspect? Of course, both of you need to have some kind of weapon that is going to show your victims that you are serious and you mean business. Of course, Advocate Mshololo did interrogate Zandi about her freezing or frozen, because that is what she said in her evidence in chief, that she froze. And I hear some people calling her the frozen princess. I know of the ice queen and the ice princess, but a frozen princess? Y'all are shady. So Advocate Mshololo then started cross-examining her about the time when the intruders entered the house. She wanted to know, when the intruders entered the house, of course you guys have been drinking, is it possible that you were either frozen or you were drunk when you saw 2 suspects in the house? Of course, I think she tripped over her words on this one, because you need to choose. Were you frozen or were you drunk when the 2 intruders came in? And how do you know that there were 2? Because when you're intoxicated, like I said, some of us do see doubles. Some of us, we do see doubles. Okay, if you've been drinking for a very long time, probably by now you know how to just adjust a double vision into one. I don't know. I don't drink. If I do drink, it's once in a blue moon, and I make sure that I don't get drunk. So then she was asked about the second suspect. Was he carrying a weapon? She said no, she didn't see any weapon. Then Advocate Mshololo put it to her that Mtoko said he saw a knife. Then she said 2 people will not be able to see 2 things. All that she focused on was the identification of the intruders. And so she can point out suspect number 2. And speaking of suspect number 2, then they went on with this hoodie thing. And she said, well, suspect number 2 was wearing a hoodie. And the hoodie was up to his... This is the forehead, right? The forehead begins here to about here, right? But she says the suspect number 2 had his, his hoodie over his forehead. And of course, if you are wearing a forehead, for me, that's not showing the entire face, because you wouldn't know what the contours or marks or whatever the case might be on the person's forehead that is covered. You might also not be able to see clearly, because the hoodie itself will create some kind of a shadow over your head. So she said no, she could see the face very clearly and she knows who this person is. Okay, maybe not know that person's name, but she can point out to the person if they were brought before her. Of course, she already identified accused number 2 as being suspect number 2 in this particular case. Of course, Advocate Mshololo pushed and said, how is it possible that you are not able to see a weapon in the hands of suspect number 2, but you can remember his face? Of course, Zandi degenerated into sarcasm one more time. And rightfully so, Advocate Mshololo wanted to know that, okay, you can only point out the suspect whose hoodie was ended at the shoulder, at the forehead. That means you did not see the entire face. She said no, she did. Question is, isn't the forehead part of the face? So if it's covered, how do you know this is the individual? Then it came to the color of the hoodie. Oh my goodness, this is where Zandi really was tripping over her words. I think her words were actually coming back to haunt her, because how is it possible that you can remember so many details of what had happened in 2014, but you do not remember the most important thing? Because come on, as I am wearing this particular top, this was the jacket, it has a red inside, it has a black inside, about 10, 15 years down the line, you're telling me that and I do something terrible to you, that on the, what's the date today? What's the date today? On the 25th of July, 2023, you don't remember what I was wearing? Because come on, if you can able to tell my face, you must be able also to tell my face, what I was wearing on top. Because you can use your image. Remember, you are also remembering a lot of details. This should be very important for you to remember what color jacket I was wearing. You may not remember the inside, but you may remember the color, the majority color of this top that I am wearing. Zandi said, it's been 8 years and colors do fade. In my mind, I'm like, okay, I know colors do fade, but you're telling me that the color of the hoodie that the second suspect was wearing faded in your head? Or it faded? What was she trying to say there? I don't get it. Advocate Mshololo then said, it's impossible that you would not remember the color of the hoodie if you can remember the face. Of course, an argument ensued between Zandi Khumalo and Advocate Mshololo. Of course, Advocate Mshololo, having the upper hand, reminded her that she is here to answer questions that are going to assist this court to come with a accurate outcome. Then the other thing that she said that really created the, that discredited her is that when she was asked, she elaborated on the color thing of the hoodie. She said colors to her are not important. In my mind, I'm thinking, but you are the same lady who has a colorful hairstyle. You're the same lady who is shown whenever she's posing on Instagram with these beautiful Zulu attire, black and white beads, and some kind of a necklace, the choke necklace with different colors. Come on. You cannot say that colors are not important to you, because if colors were not important to you, we will always see you wearing bland type of clothing with no color and no color blocking and things of that nature. So to say that colors are not important, that's a lie, because you are running away from the fact that you don't want to say the color of the hoodie of the second suspect, because you don't remember in your statement what color you had said. Then she was asked about Longwe Ifi straps. She said she's never seen Longwe strapping before. Then Advocate Mshololo wants to know, then how is it possible that a man that is unarmed would confront and approach a man that is armed and push him, and the armed man does not react by shooting back? I think that also tripped her over, because I don't think she thought about that in her script. Then Advocate Mshololo took her to the living room or the kitchen where Senzo Mayowa was struggling with the gunman, and that's when she heard a gunshot. Zandi said that Senzo did have a scuffle with the intruder. This is intruder number 1, where they were pushing them into the kitchen, and then that's when she heard a gunshot. And the shrapnel of the gunshot did hit her on the leg, and then she ran to the bathroom. This is where she said in her evidence in chief that she hid between a bathtub and a sink basin. However, though, she does say she also peeped through the bathroom door and she saw Senzo staggering forward and hid between a sofa and a TV stand. And Kelly Khumalo followed him. Then, of course, the advocate wanted to know from whom this gunshot came from. Did you see who shot Senzo? Then she said, like I said, when I heard the gunshot, I ran into the bathroom, and I thought this was brilliant of Mshololo, where she said, do you agree or deny that you do not know or you did not see who shot the shots when you were hiding in the bathroom? Because she said there were 3 gunshots. One when she was in the kitchen, then she ran to the bathroom, then she heard a second one, and then she heard a third one, which did not sound like all the other gunshots that she had heard. So you agree that you did not see who shot Senzo. And of course, she tried to obfuscate it a little bit then. Then Advocate Mshololo said, no, you don't have to answer anymore because you did not see. I got my answer. Then the second question that I thought Mshololo was on point about was the fact that during the struggle, is it possible that one of the people that were in the house prior to the intruders managed to get hold of the gun and shoot Senzo? Meaning that, is it possible that one of your friends that were present in the kitchen while you were hiding in the bathroom managed to get hold of the gun, thought that they were shooting at suspect number one, whom they had taken the gun from, but accidentally shot Senzo and killed him. Because I think Mshololo is going in the path of saying, hey, say this was an accident, or at least assume that it was an accident because you were already in the bathroom and you did not see who had fired those shots. Of course, Zandi said she was adamant about what she saw. She said, when I left the kitchen, Senzo and the suspects were busy struggling for the gun. Then it came to, where was Kelly when all this was happening? And Zandi said she was in the kitchen also fighting for the gun. And in my mind, I'm thinking, but wasn't she in the bedroom? Remember suspect number two? She ran into the bedroom and suspect number two followed her, and then there was a little tug of war between her and the bedroom door and Kelly Khumalo on the other hand, and Kelly won that kind of war. And then suspect number two, how then does he end in the kitchen and Zandi trying to hit him with the Tumelo's crutches? There she was caught. There she was caught on her own words, because now how does Kelly Khumalo leave the bedroom and now she's in the kitchen and now following Senzo, who is now staggering forward, looking like he's hiding between a sofa and this TV stand, and then followed by the mother. And then the mother in the statement, the first statement, she was hit by the suspect, fell onto the couch. And the second, she had the cell phone of Kelly. The suspect saw her, hit her on the stomach. She fell. The suspect got the cell phone from her. Now, all of that, she is seeing it through, peeping through the bathroom door. No fear of being seen and get shot. So, of course, Mshololo went for the jugular and said to Zandi, I put it to you that the suspect number two does not exist. Of course, Zandi once again degenerated into sarcasm and said, that is what you are telling me. It's your own opinion. But I know what I saw. Then Advocate Mshololo wanted to know what was Senzo wearing that night, and she said he was wearing blue jeans and white t-shirt. And then, of course, she doesn't remember what everyone else was dressed in, but she can remember what her mother was wearing and Kelly was wearing and herself was wearing. Then we get to Kaya Ngashe's statement, who said that when he could hear some kind of pushing and shoving going on in the Khumalo household. At first, initially he knew that they were having some kind of a party, but at the later stage, he started hearing pushing and shoving, and then he went to investigate by peeping through a window to see what was going on. He said he saw a person was wearing a white t-shirt and their backs was against the wall or something of that nature. And so he could not tell who the person was. Then Advocate Mshololo reminded Zandi that she had said that Senzo was wearing a white t-shirt and blue jeans, and she said yes. However, Zandi did also say that Kaya would have to come and testify and say what exactly did he see, because it's impossible. Her house has two small windows, and one of the windows in the kitchen, half of it, there's a cupboard there, and then also there were curtains that are covering the kitchen window. So it's impossible that he would have seen what was going on through that window. But then Kaya said there was somebody, he did not see the face, was wearing a white t-shirt. We all now know that Senzo Mayor was wearing a white t-shirt. However, this was the end of the cross-examination because of time, and the cross-examination will continue tomorrow from 10 a.m. and we're going to hear more on Advocate Mshololo as she is going to be cross-examining Zandi Khumalo on some pertinent questions that she has. I hope that she is going to cover the fact that Zandi had mentioned something about mask and Kovovo, let me not use the real name, and Kovovo that they were wearing, you know, the mask that we were wearing during Kovovo. How is it possible that she will manage to say something like that in her evidence in chief regarding masks? I hope that she gives us clarity on that one. Other than that, guys, I think Advocate Mshololo came and basically disintegrated what's her name, Zandile Khumalo's story about the intruders, because Advocate Mshololo went for the jugular and said there was never intruders in the house and there was never a second suspect. And I never thought of that indeed there's never been a second suspect. She created the second suspect because she knows who the first suspect is. So she needed to distract this entire story by creating a new character that never existed. But anyways, guys, if you like the video, give it a like. If you didn't like the video, give it a like. Anyways, do subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click the bell notification so you get notified every time I upload a new video. My super thanks are turned on. Thank you so much to everybody that is super thanking me. I highly appreciate it. Don't forget to share this video far and wide, and also leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought of today's proceedings. And thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.